What is going on, guys? MMA Island team, we got the fight picks. We got the main event of the evening. We'll leave it to Bruce Buffer or whoever else it is. Well, we don't know. But we got Frankie Edgar going into the bantamweight division, taking on Pedro Munhoz. I'm curious to see what these guys got and what you guys got as well for Frankie Edgar here, because obviously being in the later stage of his career, if he can kind of come back in the bantamweight division and start making even more of a name for himself, just kind of get his career back on track after the KO loss. In the bantamweight division, man, that division is stacked. There would be no other division for him to do it in because it would just make it so much better. But I'll stop rambling and I will pass on to Zach to start us off.
So I can't really think of much worse stylistic matchups to welcome Frankie Edgar to the bantamweight division than Pedro Munhoz. Now, everyone may think just because of recency bias that Frankie Edgar's chin is shot, but he's only been finished twice in his entire career. By Brian Ortega with an uppercut that came out of nowhere, and by the Korean Zombie. And if you fight Korean Zombie on short notice, that's going to happen. You're going to get flatlined because that's what he does. But man, if Pedro Munhoz is not, oh my God, he is so good. Absolute power in his hands. One of the strongest bantamweights you can absolutely find out there. And one thing that he does is so good is his leg kicks. His leg kicking offense is absolutely up there for some of the best. And if this goes to the ground, he might have the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the division, if not top three. Raoni Barcelos and Aljamain Sterling might have it over him. But the thing that I don't think Frankie Edgar is going to win against elite competition anytime soon, because there is so much tape out there on him. And the one thing that I said this in my Korean Zombie fight breakdown with him is that people have his jab timed down to an absolute T. Absolute, people will be able to counter that so easily because he hasn't adjusted his jab in many, many years. And that's how Korean Zombie knocked him out. He had all of Frankie Edgar's strikes timed down already without actually, feeling them out so much. It was because he had so much of his tape able to watch just in the fight camp. And I think that's going to play a lot to Pedro Munhoz. He's had extra time to prepare for this fight because it was originally going to be on Fight Island, but Pedro Munhoz caught COVID-19. But anywhere this fight goes, I think he wins. He has the more power on the feet. He has the better leg kicks. If Frankie Edgar decides to take him down, he's getting submitted. I think everywhere Frankie Edgar is in danger. I do want to see Frankie Edgar win. I do, but I just don't think that this fight is the fight.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you. Man, I've never been a guy to say, like, if a guy's losing in his current division and he starts to kind of get up there in age, I'm never going to be that guy that says, hey, maybe you should drop a weight class, because as we know, when guys drop weight classes, typically your chin gets worse. And I like what you mentioned about how you said how it would be recency bias to say that Edgar has a shot chin. And I would agree with you if it weren't for two things, the age and the weight class change. Because when you drop a weight class, your chin gets weaker.
Yeah.
And when you're reaching that age where it's like you're kind of getting up there in age, which Frankie Edgar definitely is. I don't know, man. I just think when you're talking about this fight, Pedro Munhoz is one of the top guys in the bantamweight division. Just a guy who I think is kind of beaten guys the same style of Frankie Edgar multiple times. Obviously, Frankie Edgar is one of the greats, but I just think Pedro Munhoz is just got everything going for him here, because you look at the guys who and obviously Frankie Edgar mostly wins by decision. Over 50% of his wins come by decision. But I can you really say that Frankie Edgar can finish Pedro Munhoz? Pedro Munhoz in what's the math on that? 22 fights, he's never been finished, and he's 33, which we had this whole debate in the last card. Is 33 your prime or not? I would say Pedro Munhoz is on a high right now. His losses come to Aljamain Sterling, John Dodson, Jimmy Rivera, Rafael Sansao. Those are guys who are in the top of the division right now. And Frankie Edgar entering the division, I really think this is a really bad matchup for him. These two guys are very similar in their styles. They honestly kind of even look alike. But I'm looking at this, and these guys are going to be a mirror image matchup, but I think Pedro Munhoz is going to be just that much better at the things that Frankie Edgar is wanting to do. So I think this fight stays standing. I honestly think Pedro Munhoz is able to get a finish. I typically don't like to think that I typically don't say that Cody Garbrandt is a guy who has a shot chin, and I know people say that, but he's been finished 2 times by TJ Dillashaw, who is great in my opinion. And then he kind of prone Pedro Munhoz to get into a brawl with him. And if you're getting into a brawl with somebody and you get two guys in the bantamweight division who are great strikers, someone's going to go down. It just so happened to be Cody Garbrandt. So I would like to see that fight happen again, maybe, but obviously we got no Cody Garbrandt's going to flyweight. But talking about this fight, man, this fight is very close in my opinion. I think the styles are kind of mismatched. This is a really, really interesting fight, man. And I just think the factors that you got to weigh in the most is talking about Frankie Edgar moving down a weight class, having been knocked out his last fight, and being up there in age. He's 38 years old, just moving down and fighting one of the top guys in the bantamweight division. I think it's just going to be too much for him. The speed is going to be a little bit too much for him. The technical striking, the well-roundedness of Pedro Munhoz, who I think is one of the top guys in the division, bantamweight. Just taking that loss to Aljamain Sterling. We saw Sandhagen get finished by Aljamain Sterling. And then obviously Pedro Munhoz able to go to the decision before that. So I think Pedro Munhoz gets this one done. I'm pretty confident in this one. Just passing it on to the calculator, it's got to add a 69.7% chance for Pedro Munhoz to win the fight. Pretty lopsided on that one. I'll have to agree with it. I think that's pretty accurate. So Pedro Munhoz, we got him. I'll take him by I'll go second round knockout for Pedro Munhoz.
You got me fucked up if you think Frankie isn't going to win this one, okay?
Yeah,
I'm biased as all hell.
yeah.
He's Italian.
Talk to him, Jake.
He's a monster. He's a monster in the cage and out of the cage, okay? He's got the ones, the twos, and the fucking threes, okay? He's got power doubles, single legs, high singles, blast doubles, whatever you want to call it. He's a vet. He's 38. He is getting up there in age. I am worried about him. I don't think his chin's shot. You know, you can say his chin's shot, but he took all of the volume strikes from Max Holloway and said, can I get a couple more, please? I haven't had enough to eat for dinner. So, you know, he's had this adversity, and he's proven people wrong before, and he will again Saturday night. He's got it. He's got the anything you want. He's got wrestling. He's got striking. He doesn't have the most power, but he has some. And then moving down in a weight class, he used to be a lightweight. Then he was a featherweight, and now he's a bantamweight. He's going to have that featherweight power. Hell, he might even have that lightweight power. I don't think he's ever cut weight in his life before. He had to force feed himself to get to lightweight. Fact check that. Fucking fact check that, okay? He's good. He knows what he's doing. He's got it in the bag. No questions asked. Frankie by decision. No finishing power because Pedro's a dog, and I see it going to the cards because if Frankie wins, it's going to be a dog fight. He's getting older, and he's got to show that he's got the grit and he's still got the it because a lot of people are questioning that, and I am myself. That's it.
The thing is with this fight is the sheer disrespect that y'all have for Frankie Edgar's 9 UFC title fights. 9!
How many years ago?
Look,
How many does GSP have? GSP going to beat Kamaru Usman?
I think GSP would beat Pedro Munhoz's ass.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
What does that have to do
I'm
with
saying
anything?
GSP beating Kamaru Usman. The title fights is like
That's not what I'm talking about. They're the same weight class. Frankie Edgar's a former champion moving down 2 weight classes to his real weight. I think it is a little late, but I think better late than never. And I think he's coming to fucking show people that Frankie Edgar's not shot. I think that he's going to come in and he's going to look great against Pedro Munhoz. I think Pedro Munhoz is a great fighter. I do. I think he's arguably the more dangerous in the matchup. But Frankie's been there, done that many times over, and I think he's fought at a higher level, higher weight classes, tougher dudes, and he's beat some of the best in the world. And I think moving down to bantamweight to fight Pedro Munhoz isn't going to be one of the toughest tests of his career, like y'all are making it out to sound. But hey, I might be really wrong because Frankie Edgar, there's a chance he goes in and gets cleaned up by Pedro Munhoz, but I just don't. I refuse to believe it. And last week I learned ain't shit sweet in MMA. You know, I'm about to cry right now thinking about it. But yeah, I got Frankie here. I have not lost faith in him yet. I think he would know if he wasn't going to be competitive.
wow. So pretty high confidence. What is the confidence on that one? Can we get a Slick Diaz calculator? What's the percentage on
the
this one?
Slick Diaz calculator is sitting at. So my calculator works weird. It's a 45% that Frankie Edgar wins.
What?
Hey, you wanted me to be honest.
45% is a what percent chance though? If you got him winning.
What do you mean? What?
Like so you
It's a
said 45%
45%
chance of
chance
winning.
that Frankie wins.
Yeah,
I know, but
I think that it's more likely that
He's
like
disagreeing
Pedro
with the calculator.
yeah, I think like my calculator says that Pedro Munhoz has a higher, like, because he's been in the division, he's got finishing capabilities in multiple areas, and jiu-jitsu is often said to be the, kryptonite for wrestling. But I just think, I think there's a 65% chance Pedro Munhoz wins. But I think
Math doesn't add up.
55, 45. Dude,
Pedro's
I don't
the
care. I'm not
favorite for a
math
reason.
guy.
He's got it, but he doesn't have enough of it. Frankie's seen it all, and he's had the experience. He's fought power punchers. I don't think Pedro is this breakout star that he's being made out to me. I think he's good.
And may I just say, you said he took Sterling to decision. He got fucking schooled by Aljamain Sterling. Aljamain Sterling made Pedro Munhoz look like an amateur, and Aljamain Sterling looked like a professional boxer that night. It was crazy.
Aljamain Sterling and Frankie Edgar, like totally different styles, like
and levels.
No, I'm just saying. You said that he went to decision with Sterling. It was he took Sterling to the cards. I wouldn't put it like that. I'd say he got beat pillar to post by Aljamain Sterling.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like going the distance, I think is a lot more valuable than getting stopped. I would say.
Agreed. I'm not discounting the fact that he went all the way with Sterling. I'm just saying that if it's going to turn into a because obviously Sterling and Frankie are very different. Obviously, I don't need to clarify that anymore. But I think that both of them are higher level than Pedro Munhoz.
No, that's fair enough. I'm kind of pushed back a little bit. You guys are bringing me closer to the Edgar side, but man, I didn't expect us to have a split decision on this one. So 2-2. We need you guys to break it. So let us know. Drop your comments and let us know. Don't hate on nobody. We get too much hate. We want to know you guys how much you love us. How about that? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let us know your thoughts. Break the damn tie. Make sure you guys watch the other Fight Pick videos. We got them all out. If we got this fight out, all the other fights are out for this exact card. So if you're not going to skip the card, don't skip the card. Watch the Fight Pick videos. Bet on the guy that you are convinced is being right. And there you go. Check out the other Fight Pick videos, guys.